How's it going, everyone? It is Friday, August 16th, 2024. Let's get into the pick from the last video. I gave two picks, CLS long as a day trade, AMAT as an earnings time spread. Here is AMAT over here. So I ended up taking about the 212.50 time spread yesterday for a $1.75 debit. You see on the open here, or let me get this here. The average range on this move was about 3%. The expected move was about 6%. We got a gap down somewhere over here, which is around 4%. Filled in, tested this gap, and we actually bounced into this gap over here. So you had a chance to profit on this spread earlier in the day, or even take profits on it now. What I actually did was, when we were kind of over here finding support, bouncing up, the short strike on AMAT was pretty much at max profit. I couldn't get any more profit in the short strike. So I legged out of that short strike for, I would say, a 99% profit. I sold it for $5, about $5.50 credit, took a 5-cent debit on that. And then I had the long call, which was getting higher value. So as that long call goes up, you essentially make money on that position. So exited out of the spread. I didn't manage it super well. Ended up taking about a 15% gain overall on the position. You had a chance to take 50%, 30, 40, 50% on this. And if you held this leg on for today, you would have got it taken even more actually at this juncture. That is going for about 273 right now. So you would have been able to take, a good more than 50%, actually closer to 60% on that right now. So still took the win. I think I could have been played a little bit better, but gave a chance at liking out over here and just did not ended up happening. Okay. We also look at CLS today. So CLS yesterday, you can see a nice gap up, just grinding up the whole day. We called out the video. It was dipping here around 120. Market had dipped over here. CLS was holding during this dip around 12.50. So I think you had a chance to enter somewhere over here. Let's call it maybe 56.15, 56.18. And you could ride this move up higher, so nice relative strength. You can see how the stock starts to go sideways here for a little bit, and it's not really rallying with the market for most of that remaining part of the move. And the move starts to stall a little bit. This starts to stall a little bit, so I think you can take some profits, maybe take 30. If you get a really good exit here, you can take maybe something like 40 cents. A really poor exit, take something like 20 cents profit. ATR of the stock is about $3, so not a huge win. But remember, again, a lot of this move was kind of earlier in the day, so unless you sniped a really good fill and then you got in at a top, that's when you can get really nice profits. But otherwise, it'll just be sort of a much smaller win on a stock like that. You can see here too how it pulls back to that 8 EMA. I put up the 15 EMA as well. I've never really used it before, but was talking to my friend. He's using it, so I'm going to give it a look, see how the stocks respond intraday to that. But I have found the 8 EMA to be quite reliable in terms of sticking to that trend. So I think this is a win. Again, not a huge win, but still a decent win. All right, market today. So we have had a pretty strong bullish reversal. Not a full reversal, but I'd say a stronger bullish move than I anticipated. Now, we took some starter longs, like I said, on the 7th and also on the 12th. The market has rallied, and I think yesterday was a decent line in the sand for me. The fact that we gapped up, we held the gap above the 50 SMA, above AVWebQ, and above this level here, and we were able to build on that level. That tells me that buyers are pretty engaged. So from close to close, we went up about $10, and that is a pretty decent move in the market there. So after a move like that yesterday, I think today we might see a little bit of a day of rest. So what does this mean on my longer term market bias? Well, we have made a pretty decent move. I do know the market is at least going to pause. It may pull back. It may have a deep retracement, right? Now, I was willing to weather, I was still decently bearish probably until yesterday, and now I'm probably a little bit less bearish on a longer term time frame because this bounce has been so tall. I wanted to see some sellers come in, and look, they still might come in, and they would have to come in either today or tomorrow, the next day or two, for them to really start to kick it off. However, if we start to hold this level for a couple of days and compress, and my relative weak stocks are not dropping, then I'm going to have to get out of those positions. Now, we are, again, fundamentally still mildly bullish. I don't think anything has really changed on that front. Technically over here, we made a pretty tall bounce. Now, we still have this all-time high, obviously, that we could lean on, but, at that point, you're taking a pretty big chunk of heat on those positions, going all the way back and giving up all that retracement. So we'll see if sellers ended up coming here at this high of around 555, if they end up coming at that level or not. That's like a very minor point of resistance, in my opinion. There's also a bit of a gap fill here, close at 554. So a little bit of resistance around those levels, but nothing super strong, in my opinion. There's also a little bit of resistance around this high right here, 560. So we're watching those levels. But shorter term bias, we are quite bullish, and it was a little bit more bullish than I anticipated. Now, I still have my qualms personally with the volume and the price action, and part of me just also wonders if, this is just sort of the nature of the bull market, right, where you do move up, but it's not as strong volume-wise as a bear market, because in bear market, the moves happen very, very quickly. Bull market, we start to slowly grind up many consecutive candles of a single color, and that's kind of what I've been leaning on for the past 2 days, I would say, right? So the beginning part of the move, I thought it was mildly bullish, but I think the move has picked up strength, right? We have a gap up, many consecutive candles, tiny volume candles. Test the 8 EMA here. Again, many green candles, tiny volume candles holding up the gap. So that tells me that, we are steadily moving up, and buyers do have control. Sellers really aren't able to knock it down. So short-term bias has become a little bit more bullish. I think it's become a too bullish here. What's happening today? So yesterday, we got this big gap up. We got a little test of the gap. We managed to hold those gains and advance higher throughout the day. We had one little dip to enter some relatively strong trades, and that's why I called that CLS at that time. Today, we gapped down. We filled in the gap pretty early today. In the first 45 minutes, we rejected it. A deepish rejection, but you can see the candles are mixed, light volume. We still held that low, the low from the open, and we were able to grind up higher, although this price action, again, has not been as strong. And if you look at the action here, right, so yesterday I did mention that, hey, look, I'm not crazy about this, but we see these red solos gobbled up, red solos gobbled up. It's a steady trickle higher. Versus here, it's a little bit more, has a little more tails and wicks. We get pops, we get freezes. So it's a little bit more, a little bit more lower probability, I would say. We have a breakout here. We're testing this breakout level. We're trying to see if we can hold above it. So far, we are. We do have a 1OP bearish cross coming up right here at the 12 o'clock mark. So this could be a bit of a bullish divergence. So for the day, we've held this for a little while now. So this tells me that we are bullish. I'm willing to trade the long side here on a relatively strong stock. I do like Nike over here. I took Nike at around 83.70. So in this position here, I think this sets up pretty well for an LRSI pullback. So let me go to the Nike chart here. You can see that nice steady grind earlier today, right, and pretty much ignored this market move down, and that it was able to rally higher, showing some relative weakness here. So there's a little bit of selling pressure, but I do really like this D1. This stock is above some horizontal support, above in the gap and above the 50 SMA. So we have a nice reversal setup. You can see after this gap move here, it's formed a very, very nice base. And we have room to the 100 SMA. It's sloping a little bit down. Looks like it's flattening out on that slope. And that 100-day SMA is coming in at 86.63. So we certainly have some room to that. Stock is pulling back here. Is at a choppy pullback. We found some support at VWAP. So I want to see an LRSI cross, and I want to see this stock break above this downward sloping trend line. That will give me some confidence to add to the position. And then I think Nike could see that next leg higher. One other stock I liked today quite a bit was PLTR. So I took a loss in this stock earlier today, and I was a little bit heated about it, but I wasn't super heated about it. Got in here. I think this was a great entry. I actually got in right here. So 32.17, nice pullback. Stock moved a little bit higher. Pull back with the market. You can see held a low, didn't recover as strong here, so I took a loss right around 13.91 as we are right at VWAP. Stock then found some support and then rallied up a little bit higher. So you can see that we had a flat open, pulled up a little bit of a parabolic pullback here, and really where you want to enter is the 1150 candle as the stock breaks to that high, minus trend line, nice bar over the 8 EMA. We have a flat bottom HA candle here, and then we sort up a little bit higher. You can take some very nice profits into strength over here. So I like PLTR. I think I'd wait for another pullback at this point. You don't want to be chasing right here at the high of the day. Right, wait for those pullbacks over here. Unless we see some sort of compression and then a compression breakout. That's what I played over here. And that gave me some confidence to enter that position. Let's take a look at our swings that we have right now. Qualcomm, nice. No bounce with the market. Qualcomm is looking good. Again, it has been relatively weak, just being dragged up by the market. So I'm waiting to see what happens on a pause or on a bounce over here. Wells Fargo, let's take a look at this guy. Wells Fargo has a little bit of a bid here. Banks are getting a bit of a bid. This stock is testing this high right here. It's holding that move above the 200-day SMA, so not the best. WBA here coming back, testing the gap, so weren't able to confirm below this level. We're getting a bit of a pullback here. So WBA is, again, still weak, but not as weak as I would have liked it. ALB, no rally today, testing that 8 EMA. I'm going to set actually a good to cancel alert right here. So if we can get through that, that might be a setup. MRK is actually doing fairly decently, all things considered, holding that A VWAP E. We're still testing the bottom of this upward sloping trend line. I think this stock will fall as the market starts to fall as well. So, I mean, I think that our picks are pretty decent for the most part. We just got the market wrong, right? And we're ready for some heat. Got a little bit early, but we weren't ready for maybe this leg here is now going to start to be a little bit more cautious. The taller rebounds, I think, at this point, this is my line in the sand. The taller rebounds from here, the less likely it is for me that we see a test of the 200-day SMA. Now, what would I need to see for these relatively weak shorts? Now, since they've been holding up pretty well, again, if the market starts to stall for a couple of days, right? Remember, when we do make big moves, right, we made a pretty big move, we're probably going to see a little bit of profit taking. It could be a little bit of a pullback. It could be a little bit of a stall. So I'm gauging two things here. I'm gauging what that pullback looks like. The most bullish case is a compression. The middle case here is a small pullback. And the best case for our shorts, or the most bearish case, would be a very deep pullback where sellers come in and they really unload on these positions. And maybe we don't get a new low, right? But we could get something like a higher low. Maybe even test the 100-day SMA. So that's what we would be expecting in those couple of different scenarios. The market is still advancing up. For signs of stalling here, we'd want to see really the first sign of the market get a little bit overextended, or we see some sort of gap up, and then we see sellers really come in aggressively on that gap up. So that may happen, it may not happen. Gap downs are more favorable on the bullish side because buyers can get in at a good price. You can see that's kind of what's happening today. Market is holding the gains here. I do think we may advance a little bit higher today. again, the volume has not been very, very strong here. And I do still contend that this may be a seller's boycott. But we can't, when the distance is pretty tall, and that's what we still have to respect. So, again, we're looking for distance, we're looking for speed, we're looking for organization, we're looking for volume. So, if this was a short bounce, low volume, mixed distance over here, right? That means we're very aggressive. When we have low volume and we have okay price action, but now the price action is picked up in terms of organization, and the move has picked up in terms of the distance covered and the speed covered, right? We covered a lot of ground from the 12th to the 15th, right? That's 200 S&P points in a couple of days with lots of gaps up, and we held all of those gains. So that tells us that buyers are engaged. All right. So what do we do today? How do we trade this? What are we thinking here? So right now, I am fine with taking, looking at some bullish day trades for today. And I think in these bullish markets here, remember we're getting some moves overnight, and there usually will be a bid check in the morning. The one thing that is always kind of sticks with me is that bull markets, they start on their low and they close near their high. So you want to enter earlier in the day on these dips. The notion is that the dips are going to be bought. When we start to see some market strength here, we can buy some relatively strong stocks. So I'm going to go to my tags. A couple stocks that I liked earlier today. So Lyft was a nice move. Not the best D1 in my opinion, but was some nice strong price action. You can see it's now sort of bottoming out. So now you'd want to wait for a dip. I liked ASPN. I think that was a Dan pick earlier today. Stock has been roaring higher since that pick. I think he got in somewhere here. Stock has been really continuing higher. Beautiful trade on ASPN, breaking through this downward sloping trend line. I like PDD as well. Nice, strong stock. Again, breaking through some of these high minus trend lines coming into play. This is actually a very nice entry point on PDD, and I just may take it. We got a test. We're breaking through some of this level. The move, I think, is relatively fresh. We're decently organized here. So I do like what I see in PDD. This may be the pick for the day right now. We're going to wait for that candle to close. I already called that PLTR. Waited for a pullback on that guy again. I think this may have one more leg in it. So I am going to create another alert and even perhaps an HA reversal on this guy. So that may trigger, that may not trigger. But I want something a little bit more sensitive on PLTR here. And we have LTH, which is looking good. It's compressing a little bit, not rallying in this last leg of the market, so not crazy about LTH in my opinion. Yeah, and that's what we're looking at here. I also call that Nike. Looks like Nike is finding a little bit of support here. Starting to find some things hold. This is a little bit of a choppier stock, a little bit of a slower stock. So I'm willing to give this time probably until the end of the day for it to hit my price target and for Nike to do something. So I'm going to be pretty patient on this guy. So I think my pick of the day here may be PDD. And we're going to go back to this chart. So not rallying a ton here, but I do like this setup quite a bit. Looks like we do have some room until some resistance here through these downward sloping trend lines. Yeah, I mean, I like PDD quite a bit, and I think this is going to be my pick of the day. All right, PDD long, pick of the day. I'm looking to enter right now on a little bit of a pullback. My order in right here. I like how a couple things. One, market's made a new high. We've digested the gains and moving up a little bit higher. PDD is breaking out to its new high. You can see that we got a bid check here. Test, broke through the downward sloping trend line. Very orderly price action here on this guy. So I really like PDD. And I think I'm going to try to get a partial. I'm partially filled here. So let's see if I can get the rest filled. All right. So that is going to be our pick for today. I like PDD, and I'm day trading Nike, but I think Nike is a pretty nice short-term swing right now. All right, so I like Nike as a shorter-term swing. I think it'll help kind of balance out our positions. I am kind of wary a little bit that, like, hey, look, are we close to the beginning of the move or the end of the move? I'm not super sure. Um, I think we made a pretty good move here. We'll wait to see if this stalls out. I like the strength though in Nike. There's a lot of upside potential here. There's a lot of again a lot of strength in the stock. I think a CDS maybe for next week could be a very very nice play on the stock. So those are going to be my two picks today. So 816 PDD day trade long. Nike, I think I'd do a short term swing. I like those two plays. So we're going to add those to our YouTube picks. All right. So that is it for today, everyone. Thanks for watching. We're going to take a look at how these picks are doing in the video on Monday.